Happy New Year. This is Dr. Toni Alvarado, the host of the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast. And I am so excited about this new year, the year 2022. Y'all, we made it. We made it. We are still in a global pandemic, y'all. We've come through 2020, 2021. We've had some losses and some gains. We've had some triumphs and some defeats. We've had good times, bad times, and everything in between, right? And yet we're still here. We crossed over into a new year, and I am so excited to welcome you to the new year, the year 2022, but also to welcome you to season 6 of the Harmonize Your Life podcast. I can't believe it's been almost 2 full years that we've been doing this podcast. We started in March of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, right? I mean, we launched this podcast right when the World Health Organization announced that we were in a global pandemic. CDC had begun to give us more information about the COVID-19 virus. Our cities, our states, governments were shutting down. I mean, church, we had to redo everything, go virtual. We could not gather in our sanctuaries. I mean, it's just been crazy, right? I mean, COVID-19 has changed just about everything about the way we do life, right? But yet through it all, God has still been good to us. We have made it. We're still in a new year. Yes, we've lost some people. Yes, we've lost family members. I myself lost my mother last year in 2021, not to COVID, but to cancer. And many of us have lost loved ones to the COVID-19 virus or friends. And then we've lost just loved ones just through other sicknesses, diseases, or just the course of life, right? We've had to pivot concerning our jobs, concerning the way we do school, education, community work, everything, our sororities, fraternities, everything we know about life has changed. But yet there are some constants. And one of the constants that remain is the idea that you and I need to do self-care. We need to do self-care. So I'm so excited. This is season 6 of the Harmonize Your Life podcast. And to kick off our new year and season 6 of the podcast, I'm hosting today a very special episode of our podcast. It's called hashtag Ask Dr. T. So if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, then listen. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, you all. The more subscribers we have, the more videos like and content like what we offer will come up in search engines, in your search engines, and others who are looking for positive content that's out there, content that's helping us live healthy and holistic and healthy lives, right? There's a whole lot of junk out there on the internet, and we need more positive content. And I'm grateful to be in this space with you. So go to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor. We are also on the Light ATL internet radio. So go there as well. You can hear us every Thursday morning there. The owners of that internet radio is Michael and Tina Gamble, and they host the Harmonize Your Life podcast there as well every Thursday at 10 a.m. You can find us there at the Light ATL internet radio station. And we'll give a little bit more as we talk today about how you can find our podcast. But I am so excited today about this episode. I'm excited about the woman who is going to be in the podcast studio with me today. She is a sister beloved. She is a friend. She is a spiritual daughter, mentee, coachee of mine, but she's a fabulous woman of God doing some amazing work in her own right. And I'm going to bring her into the podcast studio in just a moment. And she has so graciously accepted the invitation to come into the studio with me today and to help me facilitate the hashtag Ask Dr. T episode of the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast. So right after this, we'll be right back and we'll get started. All right. Hey, Michele.
Hey, Dr. Toni, how are you?
I am so excited to have you in the podcast studio with me today. How are you doing, Glamour Girl?
I am ready to begin this new year, and I especially need to get my self-care together. Every year, I need to do different things. So this is a great way to start the year.
It is, and Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. Same to you.
Listen, Michele, thank you for agreeing to come into the podcast studio with me today for our special show, hashtag Ask Dr. T.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much for agreeing to spend your New Year's, your New Year, beginning of your New Year with me. And I'm excited because not only are you on the podcast with me this month, Michele, but you are also going with me to Aruba. I'm so excited. We're headed to Aruba, y'all. Listen, we are ready to start the year with our self-care retreat. For those of you who do not know, I am the retreat leader also of the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Retreat. And I'm so excited that this year is our 5th retreat. We've been running this retreat now for about 5 or 6 years. We missed one year. I think we did our first retreat in 2017. And then we skipped a year. In 2018, we released the book, Harmonize Your Life, A Journey Towards Self-Care. We didn't do the retreat that year, but then we got right back into it in 2019, 2020, and 2021. So this will be our 5th retreat, right? We did 2017, 2019, 2020, and 2021, and our 5th retreat. And this is, I'm so excited because we're taking the retreat out of the country for the very first time. Mm-hmm. We will be in Aruba. We have about 38 women who have signed on, who are ready to go. We got our COVID tests.
Ready to go.
And we are ready to go because we have decided we're not going to let COVID keep us from living.
Yes.
You know, that's one of my mantras. Live until you die.
Yes.
Live until you die. So Michele is also, for those of you who do not know Michele, I'm going to put your information on the screen as well, so that they can find you and follow you as well, because you are a powerful woman of God and you have some great things going on. And so I want them to be able to find you as well. So before we're done, I'm going to put your information up on as well so they can follow you as well. All right. Because I believe we you know, my grandmama said all the sense ain't in one head. And so
true.
I appreciate those that follow me, but I'm connected to some powerful women. And that's why this podcast is dedicated to conversations on self-care for women of color, because we're having dialogues with we're not just here to listen to Dr. Toni, but I'm bringing women like Michele and other women who will be with us the rest of this month. Later on this month, on the 10th, we have Stephanie Pickney, who's going to be with us this month. We'll be talking about creating healthy boundaries. Then I have Jacqueline Madison of Glamour Girls Fitness. She's going to be coming on with us this month, and we'll be talking about family fitness. It's a family affair. And she has a movement that she has created on self-care and fitness around the family. And so she's coming into the studio with me this month. We have Dr. Leah Jackson is going to be. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about how to set the pace for your life. Reverend Leah Jackson is going to be coming in with me, and then we'll end this month with Dr. Emily Cooper, who is a medical doctor, and we're going to be having real talk conversation about COVID-19 and vaccine hesitancy. So that's our lineup for the kickoff of season 6. I say that's a great kickoff, don't you think?
That is wonderful. All good topics, good conversations that need to be had. So yes, I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah. And Michele, you've been on the podcast.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
And we talked when you came on the podcast. What did we talked about?
Being a dressed up mess.
Being a dressed up mess, right? Because Michele is the owner of the Royal Dressing Room, and I'm putting that on the screen right now, so y'all can follow Michele at the Royal Dressing Room. You can find her there on Facebook at the Royal Dressing Room. Michele has that going on because she is an image consultant. Right. And she also does a conference for girls' identity, the Girls Identity Summit. Michele just got back from Ghana. Tell us a little bit about that, Michele.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. You talked about COVID and starting the podcast. Well, we started planning for the Girls Identity Summit 2 years ago. At the beginning of COVID. So we weren't able to do a live event, but we were planning, we were praying, we were planning, we were preparing. Yes.
It makes it hard for us to plan things, you know?
Yes.
I mean, I was stressed out last week worried about this retreat. I was like, oh, Jesus, because Uber had changed all of their guidelines for traveling from the U.S. into the country, because we just won't do right over here.
Yes, exactly. And that's what was happening. Ghana was shutting their borders down, and we had a set date for September the 18th, 2021. And Miss Connie, one of my spiritual daughters now, she called and said, we can't have it. And because they didn't want us to come in from the school, they didn't want anyone else to come in. But something in me was like, either I'm supposed to go or something. God, I couldn't let it go. And before I had, was like, okay, I want everyone to be safe. We're just going to wait this out. But something was just rumbling in my spirit to say that we needed to go, or that I needed to go to at least, kind of spy out the land. Okay. And so God presented the opportunity. We actually went. I met Miss Connie finally after 2 years. We basically had a planning meeting to tweak the plan we had. And next year we will have a live event.
Yes.
Well, this year, 2022, we will have a live event.
In Ghana.
And yes.
I'm going to get in on that trip with you. I may have to go to Ghana.
Okay. That would be great.
I've been to Africa several times, been to Kenya, been to South Africa, been to Ethiopia, the continent of Africa and certain countries in Africa. But I've not been to Ghana. So I'd love to go with you.
Okay.
To Ghana. So we'll look at that. I'll get your dates. I may jump in on that trip and go there with you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But Michele, thank you. You agreed to come into the studio with me today to answer some questions. I put out a challenge to some of the women in the Harmonize Your Life Self-Care Network. I put it out in the network and also put it on social media. And we got a few questions.
Okay, good.
So we have emailed you the questions.
Yes.
And so if you will just we'll get started. So what do
Okay.
we have? What do we have? I'm gonna try to answer the questions to the best of my ability and see what comes out of our conversation today.
Okay. So, this first question, because so many people have different definitions of what really self care is. The
Mhm.
first question is, what is self care? What is self care?
Okay. So first of all, let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care is really in when you think about it, think about the word self, meaning uh your primary person, right? When we think of the self, and the self could be when we think of the self, there's so many aspects of the self, right? So psychologically and sociologically, we have a self. We have a public self, we have a private self, we have our mental self, our spiritual self, our physical self. So the self has a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
of components to the self, right? I think it's Freud who talks about the whole ego and things of that nature. When you go really deep into what the self is psychologically, and I'm not a psychologist or psychology major, but I've had a few psychology courses. I mean, you don't get a doctor in ministry, a master of divinity degree, two or three master's degrees, a bachelor's degree, and a graduate certificate in women's studies without having psychology courses, right? And sociology. So we have a lot of aspects to ourself. And so when you think about the self, I think of the holistic person, right? Who am I? My identity. Self-care begins with self-awareness,
Mm.
right? So it begins with being aware of who I am, where I am, my feelings, my values, my emotions, just where am I? Where am I in my life cycle? What's going on with my relationships? What's happening with my finances? What's happening with ministry? So it's so many components to who we are, and particularly as women, I'm kind of riffing here. As women, Michelle, we have so many aspects to who we are. Like for example, I'm a wife.
Mm-hmm.
There's a self that goes with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mother,
Mother. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I am a daughter, even though my mom has gone on to be with the Lord. But I'm somebody's daughter, and
Right.
and before my mom transitioned, being her daughter and having to care for her,
Yes.
I had a role in that. I wasn't the only one because I have four sisters, and thanks be to God, we work together wonderfully in caring for our mother. But we all have had a role. But even now, I'm still a daughter because I have a mother in love. My husband's mother is still alive, and we're caring for her, right? And so there's the self related to that. There's family dynamics, right? And then I'm a pastor. I pastor a local church. I have I'm a community leader.
Yes.
I itinerate, so I'm a preacher. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
an itinerant preacher along with pastoring my local church. I'm on the road preaching and in conferences and workshops and things of that nature. I'm a life coach. So I've got so many aspects to who I am, right? Some people say, "Oh my God, that's a whole lot." Now, thanks be to God, a lot of it overlap,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not like I'm all over the place because it's connected.
Yes.
My work is connected.
Yes.
But those are aspects of who I am. But then there is my values, what I value. There is my physical life, and what goes on with me in my body.
Yeah.
Where I'm 58 years old. I'll be 59 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So next year, 2023, I'll be 60.
Mm-hmm.
So the self that I am at 59, 58, going on 59, soon to be 60, is not the same self that I was at 30.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's why I say self-care begins with self-awareness. So when you think of self and then the care part, the care is the activities that I do to maintain, to develop, to grow, to sustain. So that's the whole care aspect. When you think of something that you're caring for, like for example, this plant that's behind me, I like plants, right? And so recently I started doing some things related to, I used to keep a lot of plants and then I got away from it and I picked it back up last year. And I actually planted a garden and some other things. And so, but I noticed a couple of weeks ago that this plant right here had, because I had been traveling in this room, it wasn't getting enough sunlight.
Gotcha.
And so I have been watering it, but where it's positioned, even though it's beautiful, it's a live plant. A live plant. So even though it's beautiful, and I have a window here with where a little sunlight comes in, but I have been traveling. The lights have been off in this room a lot because we're traveling. The heat was it had gotten a little cooler in this room because when you're not in a space. It doesn't have body heat. It doesn't, and the plant wasn't even getting oxygen from my breath, right? Because plants for photosynthesis, kind of stuff. So the plant is giving me life, but my breath is also giving the plant life.
Yes,
right. So I noticed that this plant was like starting to wilt, and some of the leaves had started to turn, and so I took it out of this room for several days. I actually just put it back in here today just to be a part of my set. And I took it out of the room, took it into another room with openness, more sunlight coming in, put some more. I just did some TLC on the plant for a couple of days. And the next thing I know, I walked past that plant the other day. It was, hey, how you doing? Last week, good, but now she's like, hey girl, let's do this. And now she's ready to be a part of my set today.
Exactly.
That's just a practical example of self-care. You know what I mean? Of caring for something, and caring and doing the necessary activities and giving that thing what it needs to thrive, survive, sustain.
Yeah.
That's self-care. Was that a decent answer?
That was a great answer. Because there's so many self-care definitions floating around, how we talk about, I think we talked about it on our podcast, that self-care is not just going to get your nails done or getting a pedicure, manicure, those things. Those are part of the activities, and being self-aware of what you need, because everybody doesn't need. That's not
right. Exactly. Being self-aware. Right.
Yeah.
Because what self-care may look like for you, it may not look the same for me.
Exactly.
Like, for example, I'm okay, we're wearing the same. Thank you for wearing your self-care t-shirt. You rocking my bling t-shirt. If y'all want this t-shirt, go to my website. Look, me and Michelle, we are rocking it. The Royal Dressing Room and the Women's Self-Care Network, we rocking it today. And you look good in it, Michelle. But we're wearing the same t-shirt, right? But we're still two different women.
Exactly.
We have some things that are similar. We're in the same age group. I'm 58. You're 57. 57. We're both mothers. We're both in ministry. Maybe I'm to the degree that I'm in ministry. Well, ministry is my livelihood,
right?
My principal work. But you're also in ministry, and so we share a lot of commonalities.
Yes,
but yet there are things about us that are different.
Yeah.
We both something like you enjoy shopping, and shopping is relaxing to you. Well, shopping stresses me out. We have a mutual friend, Roz Bogle, and she says I shop like a dude. She said, you are no fun to go shopping with, Toni, because you just go in, you get what you get,
and get on out.
You've been with me. I've been out in the mall with y'all, and you and Beverly and Raj, y'all be going for it, and I be sitting over in the corner like, can we go eat? we gonna go get some calamari? I want some. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but for you, it relaxes you, but that doesn't relax.
It is therapy for me.
It's therapy for you. You call it retail therapy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's different, you know. So we all have different aspects, and what may refresh you may not refresh me, and what may refresh me may not refresh you. And then, of course, there's life dynamics and things of that nature that, you know, if you got small children, if we have adult children, you and I, young adult, mine are younger than yours, I think, pretty much, but we still have young adult children.
Yeah.
That's such an oxymoron, like young adult children, like
Right.
young adult and a children and a child too. Anyway, but they still need us in a lot of ways,
Exactly.
right? So, but you know, if your life cycle is in a different place, you're married or single, you have small children as opposed to teenagers, as opposed to adults, grandchildren, whatever, you know, whatever the life cycle or whatever's going on in your life, self-care has to fit who you are and the station of life you are in.
Exactly. Well, that was an excellent answer. And with that, leading into this next question, because our self-care routine or plans can be so different, one of my questions to you, because I watch you on social media, I've talked to you, I see you, is how are you so consistent? And I know this is your life, but even still, like, what keeps you going? Because I go for a while, I'll just say this, and everybody thinks because I was in the military, well, I just love to, you know, for one, they think I just love to go work out because that was, they think I like to get up early. I don't. I don't. So, and that has been one of the things that I have really admired and, you know, watched you being consistent, just being consistently on self-care. I remember when you had someone come in and make some meals for you, just different things where I know a lot of the women that are probably listening to the podcast is that's where they may get discouraged or they
I get that
may,
question off
yes.
often. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a young lady yesterday who reached out to me because she watches my videos on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. And so yeah, so that whole consistency thing, and you know, one of my hashtags is consistency is the key, right? It is the key. But here's the thing, how am I so consistent? So first of all, I didn't start that way. Consistency is something that's built over time, right? It's over time. So I started down this journey of fitness and self-care, this self-care journey, which manifests a lot in my fitness. And of course, that's not the only aspect, right? But that's the piece everybody sees up front, because when people think of self-care or fitness, the first thing you think about is exercising and working out. And that's the part that a lot of people get hung up on, or that's the part that they have hard time maintaining. Some people just have a hard time getting started. So the thing is, and then this is the new year, this is January. So oftentimes in January, everybody got these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to lose 15 pounds. I'm going to work out this year. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then by March, and I always tell people, don't get no gym membership before you get consistent, because you're going to be paying people and you're not going to gym. Go outside where it's free. Okay? Until you make this a part of who you are, do free stuff. Don't sign up for anything that you got to be in debt over or paying somebody once a month for, until it becomes a part of who you are. That's one of the big mistakes people make in fitness, is they run to the gym right away, they get a gym membership, and then I got a membership, but I never go.
Yeah.
Well, and gyms know that, which is why they sell a whole lot of memberships, because they know, just like airlines, they're going to still sell more seats because they know somebody ain't going to make that flight,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Right.
same thing with gyms. They know that, so they know they're going to sell more gym memberships than people actually are going to come.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a little sidebar. So the consistency thing it's about intentionality.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's about being intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Consistency is also about knowing your why,
Yeah. Okay.
knowing my why. Like, for example, for me, my why, when I started down this road in 2000, I want to say around 2000, I was 37. So maybe it was like 1999, right at 2000. The year 2000, and I had just had Ariel. I had Ariel when I was 37. So it was um, right after I turned 37. Ariel was born that year.
Mm-hmm.
God really dealt with me about my health and wellness, because I noticed that I had heart palpitations. My hand was shaking. I had a whole lot going on. I could not focus. And my mood, I was just all over the place. And I discovered during that time that I had a condition called Graves' disease,
Mm-hmm.
hypothyroid condition. It
Mm-hmm.
was stress induced. I was in seminary. I had 3 children. We had 3 children under the age of 3. At that time, I think we had like 3 or 4 worship services.
Oh wow.
It was in the height of our ministry of our church.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of members. We were on television. We had television ministry. We had 3 locations of our church. I was traveling more in seminary. I was doing all this stuff, but I was not caring for me.
Okay.
And the
Mm-hmm.
Lord dealt with me about that and literally said to me, for where I'm taking you, if you don't stop and take better care of yourself, you're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what really got me, Michelle, listen to this, and I talk about it in my book.
Mm-hmm.
What really got me is I had a vision that I had died
Mm.
and that somebody else had my husband and was raising my children. And I was like, the devil is a lie. I should live and not die and declare the words of the Lord. So it was a real wake-up call, though. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Health was not, on the outside looked healthy, but internally,
Yeah.
my thyroid levels were off the chart.
Mm.
The other thing, a lot of times we don't think about, for women, we're often concerned about how we look on the outside.
Dress.
Like we want our hair done, we want that dressed up mess that we talked about. Go to my podcast, you all go back to 2020 and look up Michelle's episode. It was in May of 2020, I believe it was, or June,
Yeah.
around June of 2020, and we talked about that being a dressed up mess. Because a lot of times we want to look good with our hair, our nails, our makeup, all of that, but then internally we're a mess. Our blood pressure, our glucose levels, we have hypertension, we have hypothyroid or low thyroid activity. We have all kind of stuff going on mentally and emotionally, internally, but on the outside, like we talked about in that episode, we dressed up, but we're a mess on the inside.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I was not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I had gained a lot of weight. Believe it or not, I had gotten up to a size 16. I had never been that size ever in my life. I mean, when we got married, I was like barely a size 6.
Right.
And I had gotten up. I used to tease Bishop and say, when you married me, I was a Coke bottle. Then I turned into a 2-liter. Right? That's just a little side joke, one of them old preacher jokes. Anyway. And so know your why. So my consistency comes from knowing my why. If I want to be healthy, spirit, soul, and body, one of the scriptures that I live my life by is 1 Thessalonians 5. Where Paul says, I pray that your whole spirit, your whole soul, and your whole body will be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. That's part of my theology for self-care. And so I want to be my best me.
Yeah.
And that's all around, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, relationally. I want to be my best me. And so that's what gets me up in the morning. That's what wakes me up in the morning. That's what, now I don't wake up saying, "Oh, Jesus, I'm so ready to work out. I'm so glad to work out." Some days I'm literally dragging myself out of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. That's not the video. Y'all get the back end. Y'all get me.
Right.
I got in my groove with it because once you get going, you
Right.
feel good. But I have to talk myself into it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell myself this is what I need to do. This is where I am. And then, now because I've been doing this so long, my body craves it. So if I go for so many days, like I work out five days a week and I give myself a break on the weekends, but I can't go more than 2 or 3 days, more than 3 or 4 days without my body saying, okay, I need this. Mentally, emotionally, all of that. Bishop be like, you need to work out. So knowing your why, that's what gets me up in the morning, knowing my why, and wanting, and that idea of wanting to be my best self. And so I say, for somebody who's struggling with consistency, number one, know your why.
Know your why.
Do you want to be healthy? Why is it important for you? Maybe you're raising small children and you want to be your best mother. Or maybe you're married and you want to, because one of my things is self-care is not only a gift to me, but it's a gift to everybody that's connected to me. So when I'm healthy, I'm being a gift to my husband and my children and everyone else. Because see, if I'm broke down, then they got to stop what they're doing to take care of me, right?
That's true.
And so it's a gift not only to me, but it's a gift to everybody in my family that's connected to me.
Yes.
So know your why. And what is it? What is it? Why do you want to be healthy?
Yeah.
It could be that your doctor is giving you a warning. Maybe you were like me and you had some kind of medical thing that just popped up and you're down, like you're faced with it and you confronted with your health. You got it. And your why has to be bigger than your wanting to be comfortable.
That's good. That's good.
That just came to me from the Holy Ghost. All right. Your why must be bigger than your comfortability.
Yes. Yes.
And so my why is so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I now know my purpose. I know my destiny. I know what God has called me to do. And if that's an issue for you, then you need to get clear about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that whole purpose and destiny thing is an issue, get clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of that's connected to self-care,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so my being consistent is about me knowing my why, and my why is bigger than my wanting to lay in the bed 30 more minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I don't want to just lay in the bed and, okay, you can lay in the bed 30 more minutes, but if you don't get up out that bed, eventually you're gonna be bedridden.
Yes.
Now, do you want to be bedridden? Is 30 more minutes of laying in the bed that important? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to live a long, healthy life. I don't want to live long. I want to live long and healthy. I want to live and be hooked up to machines.
Right.
And not be able to travel and do the things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I want to live until I die. And when I die, I'm going to die because I have to, not because I want to.
Yeah.
I'm going to die because my time is up.
Yeah.
I'm going to die because God says I've done everything that I'm supposed to do in the earth. I've written every book I'm supposed to write, sang every song I'm supposed to sing. I have preached every sermon that I'm supposed to preach, touched every life, coached every person that I'm supposed, everything I'm supposed to do. I'm going out empty.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what keeps me going.
Wow.
That's my why. That's my motivation.
Yes.
My this motivation is because I want to do this thing. I want to do it well.
Yes.
I want to finish well.
Yes. Yes. Wow. That was inspiring, and I know for anyone listening, y'all ready to go?
Yeah, because listen, if you're ready to go, let me do this little plug. My next fitness challenge.
Okay.
We're starting January 10th. We're doing a 21-day. I'm gonna have mercy on y'all this time. It's like a 30-day challenge, but I'm gonna have mercy on y'all. We're doing 21 days this month.
Okay.
January 10th through the 31st. Dr. Toni's Fitness Challenge is on the way. Go to my website. It is there. You can register for it. on the website, and
Yeah.
I'll send you the information and the instructions. Once you sign up, you have to sign up because you got to do your part, right?
Yeah.
And then I send you the instructions and we go from there. You've been a part of my fitness challenge.
Yes, yes, I was in the last one, and that is, and we want to. You probably need to do one every month, Dr. Tony, so we can get that. You know, one of the things that stood out to me is that you said after a couple of days, your body is you can't go that long because your body now is regulated and it needs it. You've told it needs self-care. It
It
needs
needs self-care.
that
It
moment.
requires
And
self-care.
so,
Yep,
so
my body requires it now.
yes,
So
yes.
that's I mean, it is. And it's like anything else. My body craves water because I drink a lot of water.
Mhm.
So my body craves it,
Yeah.
right? And so it's the same thing with my exercise. It craves it. And so start where you are. I started with a treadmill
Mm, okay.
at home.
Those.
Bishop bought me a treadmill at 37. Then I
Uh-huh.
got a membership to the Y. And then I talk about all this in my book. Then I've had several trainers over the years,
Okay.
several wonderful fitness trainers over the years. Right now my trainer is Gable Sims
Okay.
from Temple Builders Fitness. He comes to my home, so I do my home gym. I started building my home gym several years ago, and I just add pieces as I go.
Yeah.
Over the years, I plan to do some upgrades to my home gym this year. I just added a Peloton bike to my gym.
Okay.
Last year in 2021, a few months back, I just added a Peloton, and I love. Oh my God, I was late to the party, but I'm glad I'm there now. All my friends had Pelotons. I was like, wait a minute, let me get this, let me get it here. And so yeah, so that has been a blessing. I'm just it's just been a blessing. Yep, yep, yep.
Amen. So that leads right into the one of the questions is what hold on, let me take care of these eyes. Have you picked up any new self-care habits during 2021? And you just said you got a Peloton as a part of your gym, right?
It's a part of my gym. I
Okay.
did that. I just added a piece to my gym.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and I love spin. I was doing spin at the gym. I was attending a gym here near my home before the pandemic,
Okay.
and then I stopped um going to the gym during the pandemic in 2020. And
Mhm.
I had already had stuff at home, right?
Okay.
Before I was going to the gym. I started building my home gym several years ago.
Yeah.
But and so periodically I would work out at home and then I would go to the gym. And so and I've had these moments where I plateaued and so I would need something different. So I
Got
started
it.
going to a particular gym here in my community, and that's where I met my trainer.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so then when the pandemic hit, I was like, hey, can you just come to my house? I have equipment here. He said, sure. So we started working out thing. I used to go to the gym 5 days a week. And one of the things I would do was spin at
Okay.
the gym where I was going. So I like spin anyway. I like my regular bike. I like riding outside when the weather's
Mhm.
permits. But so I wanted to get back into spin, so I bought a Peloton bike. But another thing that I did, one of the other activities that I did, two things that I did, that I did last year that um, something new. What was the question?
It was did you pick up any new
Any
self-care
new self care?
in 2021?
Yeah. In
Mm.
2021, I planted a garden.
Okay. Okay.
I planted a garden. I did a DIY, is it do it yourself DIY project?
Mhm.
And I planted a garden. It was a part of my grief
Mhm.
therapy. And that's another thing that I did in 2021. I started grief counseling
Okay.
because my mother was transitioning. And I actually planted the garden before she passed. I
Mhm.
started planting it as a part of my self-care and everything. Um, and so hold on one minute. So my self-care journey was enhanced by um my my garden, because when I would go into my garden, it would be my time to it would be my time to focus.
Mhm.
I would um I started the garden before I planted it before mom passed, right? And it was a good way for me to just kind of express my emotions,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
getting in the dirt,
Mhm.
um, planting things. And then when I watched it grow, that in of itself, I would hear God in different ways um, while I was in my garden.
Mhm.
Um, the other thing is I would feel mom's presence after she passed. I
Mhm.
would go out there and so many, I mean, there were times when I would really be missing mom and I'd go outside. I planted yellow roses in her honor.
Oh, yeah.
And I would go outside and one of the rose bushes would be blooming. And it would just let me know that she's watching over me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it would be right in that moment when I was really having a grief moment.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that was, self-care. That was one of the new things that I did. Planting my garden, spending time. I built a deck on the back. I remodeled my deck on the
Mhm.
back of my house. And that's another part of self-care. What is your environment, your living environment? Is it conducive for your rest, for your refreshment, for your enjoyment? Sometimes we walk around our house and we see something that need to be fixed and we don't fix it,
Yeah.
and that stuff is getting on our nerve, it's irritating us mentally, emotionally, and everything else, or we're nagging our spouse about it. So
Mhm.
we did some remodeling last year. That was self-care for me. I built remodeled my deck, and so that gave me a new space in my home to be able to enjoy and spend quiet time, reflection time, journaling time. And then during the holidays I baked sweet potato pies.
Okay.
And I want to read something to you because yes, this week I was talking to my counselor, and I know our time is just about up. I may have time for one more question. I
Okay.
was talking to my grief counselor, um, and she was asking me was it in the what about the holidays was I dreading the most, and
Mhm.
I said to her that I was dreading um, I was dreading the fact that mom was not going to be here to bake my sweet potato pies.
Mhm.
And so she said, she gave me a great idea. She said, I'm pulling up this article
Okay.
that I found. She gave me this great idea and she said, well, why don't you bake sweet potato pies in mom's memory?
Mm.
And I was like, wow. And I'd never baked sweet potato pies before. Known for I'm not known for cooking. I can cook, but that ain't my thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Right.
what I'm known for. I mean, I can cook. My family not gonna starve. I'm not
Right.
gonna starve. But like my sister Inez, she's known for cooking, right?
Right.
We got a little sweet potato pie contest coming up.
Okay.
So I called her. I was like, girl, do you know how to make mama sweet potato pies? Girl, yeah. So, we talked about it. And my grief counselor, she said, well, why don't you and your sisters, y'all bake some of the things that mom baked and see which one of you all your pie or cake, whatever,
Mhm.
takes closest to mom. So I love mom's sweet potato pies. That's the only time I would eat sweet potato pies was when mom made them.
Mhm.
And she made them at Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's really the only time of year she made them. And
Uh-huh.
she would always make me my own pie.
Right.
She would make some for everybody. And then she called me and say, now I got your pie. You come over here and get your pie. And so I did that, right? And it was so good. Ariel and I got in the kitchen together. So I had that time with Ariel, my daughter, my only daughter.
Yes.
And so we did something in honor of mom. And and then this week, I got an email from Kaiser Permanente, who I'm with, my healthcare.
Mhm.
They sent out these things. This is called Kaiser Permanente Thrive, and they always send out these little articles and stuff on health and wellness.
Mhm.
And this article was entitled "4 Ways Baking Can Help Support Your Mental Health."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh my God."
Wow.
And I'm just going to give you the 4 ways real quick. I'm not going to read them all, but the first one was taking time for yourself.
Okay. Mhm.
Number 2, inspiring creativity.
Okay.
3, recreating happy memories.
Mm.
And 4, sharing the joy.
Mm. Mhm.
So when other people, I baked, my aunt asked me to bake a pie for her because mom always made pies for her. My uncle, her husband, he was like, who gonna make my sweet potato pies? My cousin, she was like, Auntie not here to make my sweet potato pies. What am I gonna do? And so but sharing that and my family
Yes.
members eating the pie and saying how much they enjoyed it.
Yes.
A couple of church members got a pie from me and they were like, oh, this is so good, Pastor. And so sharing that joy. And I posted yesterday, I posted this article, and I said, I thank the people who enjoyed my pies because I told them you helped me get through a very different. I started to say difficult, but it wasn't difficult. The holidays wasn't difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
They were just different
Different. Yes.
because
Right.
this is our first holiday without mom. And so I had a couple of moments, yet coming into the new year was different. And I had more sad moments coming transitioning on New Year's Eve
Mm.
than I did Christmas and Thanksgiving. I guess because Christmas and Thanksgiving had, people around. We had traveled for Christmas, Thanksgiving we were gone too. And I was around family and stuff. And so, but thank New Year's Eve, just it gives you time to reflect over your year. And
Mm.
I thought about mom a lot New Year's Eve, and it was kind of hard to think about transitioning to the new year without her.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
That's-
but those are three things that I did in 2021 to for self-care. I planted a garden. I
Mm.
built I remodeled my deck,
Mm-hmm.
and I baked sweet potato pies.
Sweet potato pies.
Yeah.
So that is, I know we are coming to the end. So I have just one last question. Is so pertinent, I believe, the conversation. And I know you've had different people on to talk about grief, but that is part of self-care. That sometimes I believe that people think they just put that as just a part of life. That death is a part of life or losing someone is a part of life. So they just keep going
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and don't get any self-care. And
Oh,
then
and that's the other thing. I started grief counseling. I think I said three things.
uh-huh,
And
you
the
said
fourth thing would be I started grief
grief
counseling.
counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that will carry on into this year,
Yeah,
correct? To
that's
start it.
no carry on. I gave myself um um I gave myself 1 full year to do grief counseling. Now I've always done therapy,
Mm-hmm.
off and on. You know
Mhm,
what I'm saying?
mhm,
I've had seasons where I've gone into therapy just for sometimes it was because of difficult things that was happening in my life,
mhm,
in my family life,
mhm,
marriage, that
mhm.
kind of stuff.
Right.
Marriages hit rough patches.
Yeah.
You
Mhm,
know,
mhm,
so my husband and I are big components for marriage counseling
yeah.
and therapy. We had to go to family therapy. Many people know that we have our son, our middle son Joshua, has a diagnosed mental illness,
Mhm, mm,
bipolar disorder, and listen, mental health issues.
mhm,
Telling
mm,
you, it's some days I know whether or not to give him his medicine or take it myself.
yeah.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
Definitely.
um I'm it's just it's been off and on where that's concerned in terms of therapy
Mm,
throughout the years. um I believe in therapy. I believe strongly in it. I've had several therapists on this podcast, and so over the years, just like with fitness trainers, I've had different therapists for different reasons.
right. Right.
Family therapist, my own personal therapy, and now grief. I specifically am in therapy for grief. And I
Mhm.
said, I'm going to give myself 1 full year. I started grief therapy in June. Mom passed in May
Okay.
2021, the end of May. I
Uh-huh.
started grief therapy. I actually had contacted the grief therapist before mom transitioned.
Okay.
But I actually started with her right after mom
Oh,
transitioned. I had my first session right
oh,
after. And I
okay.
said, I'll give myself a full year and just see where I go. And then, of course, I can always, I go every month. for
Mhm.
and that's an investment because I paid for that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not something that my insurance pays for. I pay out of pocket for that.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
the other thing. We have to invest in our self care. Stop buying all them handbags and go pay for a therapist,
Exactly.
right? Because
Exactly.
that handbag can't help you mentally
At
and
all.
emotionally. You
You,
got enough handbags, girl.
yeah.
Take
You'll be
a
addressed with
fitness
that.
trainer.
Yes.
Join
Mhm.
the Harmonize Your Life Self Care Network with Dr. Toni. It don't cost hardly anything for what, less than a Starbucks cup of coffee, right?
That's right. That's right.
Join. Michelle is a part of the Self Care Network.
Yes.
Join our Self Care Network. Invest in your self care,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
It
yes,
it is an investment of either finances, your time, but like you said, you are a gift. You become the gift to self-care is a you can say it however you want to. You can say I gifted myself and made sure that I remain a gift however you need to word it, but definitely the self-care network is a group of women who encourage each other. My life has been impacted from being in the network because we go back to that question asked earlier about being consistent and being intentional, and like you said, Dr. Toni,
yeah.
starting somewhere, and it sounds like with everything that you talked about, which was there, everything with great answers for every question, and you elaborated. But it seems like that our self care routine can evolve.
Oh yes,
It
yes,
evolves, it changes, and
yes,
so to not get stuck in this is what I have to do now because we're at different points in our lives,
yeah. And
and
different things happen. Different
yeah,
things come up. You don't plan sickness.
no, not
You
at
don't
all.
plan when somebody's gonna die. You
Hmm.
don't plan,
Hmm.
and you might plan when you're gonna have a baby, but sometimes you didn't plan that. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
it's I always say self-care is everything from being honest with your spouse
Hmm.
to going to the beach and,
Hmm.
and laying up, being honest with yourself, your spouse, or whatever, and going out with your girlfriends and hanging out. It's everything, it's all of that.
Yes, yes.
I went on a sabbatical. That's another thing I did. So add that to the list of things I did. I did
Okay,
my first
sabbatical.
sabbatical last year. I'd never taken a full sabbatical from work. I took
Okay.
2 full months.
Oh wow, that was good.
21. After mom passed, I took off the month of July and August. I probably should have taken 3 months, but I
Mm.
took 2 full months off from work from the church.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
for those pastors that's listening, I let somebody else do it for 2 full months.
Yes.
And I traveled. I did
Yeah.
some amazing things during that time. I
Yeah.
went and walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. I just had a wonderful time. I went places that I had never gone before, and then I went to places that I had gone to before. Been to
Mhm.
New York a million times, but I never walked across the Brooklyn Bridge.
Right.
So
Right.
I did something familiar, but I did it in a new way.
Yes. Yes. And a
You know
new
what
one.
I'm saying? Right. And so it's just it's it causes you to have to look at your life, look at where you are right then, and make the
Mhm.
right decision for what you need in that moment.
In that
It
moment.
does change. It changes. It changes because we change.
Yes. That's good. That's good. That's good. This has been great. This has really been great. Just and you know how you hear things, you've heard it before, but
Yeah.
again, like you said, you have a different perspective because the last time I heard, I was in a different place than I am right now. So, those listening, same thing. You've probably heard about self care, and we talk about self care, but you're in a different place, so it's it's new to you. So it is, and it has inspired me again to add some things and take away some things that maybe I was doing that don't work
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Mm.
Sometimes things that we were doing wasn't working. Remember, I told you I've hit some plateaus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I hit those, then I know it's time for a shift. That's one of the reasons I added the Peloton to my gym, because I had hit a plateau
Yeah.
in my cardio, in my endurance. And I got some new things that I'm going to be doing in 2022 and 2023 and for my year 60. And I want to be ready. So I'm not going to give it all away in this one conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll wait with anticipation.
All right. Well, Michele, thank you again for coming into the studio with me today. I
You're
have really,
welcome.
I have really enjoyed
Yeah.
our conversation. I have enjoyed our Ask Dr. hashtag Ask Dr. T podcast. Thank you for being my dialogue partner today. Thank you for your questions. Those of you who had questions, who sent in questions, thank you so much. It really did make our time together very meaningful. If we didn't answer your question or you didn't get a chance to get your question in, please don't let this be the last time. Send your questions to me. Go to my website at drtonyalvarado.com. You can go there and you can contact me. There's a contact form there, and we will respond. I always respond. I want you to follow this podcast. Look for some amazing things to come out of this podcast this year. Look for some amazing things to come out of the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. Join us. Come along with us. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to Dr. Toni G. Alvarado and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And get ready for Dr. Toni's Fitness Challenge. And while you're getting ready for the Fitness Challenge, go to my website and get your Harmony Fitness apparel. Get your apparel. Michele has her sweatshirt. She's got her leggings, her pants, her workout pants, her t-shirt, and Michele be rocking it really cute. Now I be looking a mess in mine. I don't know how Michele be so good at her stuff.
Yeah.
I look a mess while I'm working out. But anyway, thank you all for being with us on today. And we look forward to season 6 of the Harmonize Your Life podcast. Happy New Year to you. Hang with us all year for the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. See you soon. Hi, this is Dr. Toni Alvarado. I am so delighted about bringing the Harmonize Your Life podcast to you. Would you do me a favor? If you are enjoying this podcast, would you email me at hello@drtonyalvarado.com? I want to hear from you. I want your feedback. I want to know if there are any other topics that you are interested in as it relates to wellness, self-care, nutrition, or just overall bringing harmony into your life. Email me, contact me at hello@drtonyalvarado.com.